A wise man once said, planning equals profits. It's better to plan out your advertising, especially on Meta. Some people call it, Meta as the brand is. And then, some people call it Facebook advertising. Some people say Instagram ads. But basically, Meta ads refers to the Meta platform where Instagram and Facebook live alongside the audience network and WhatsApp. So I just want you to hear me out on this and why it's so important. Really, I mean, would you build a house with no blueprint? Advertising for your business is a serious aspect or component of your business, just like human resources, accounting, or sales. Good advertising is like building something really important, like a house you live in. So let me ask you a question. Would you just build a house with no blueprint at all or plan? Just go about it kind of winging it every day? There's going to be problems. It's the same thing with your advertising, especially on the Meta platform. You're going to have improper data attributions. You're going to have targeting that fails, copywriting that sucks, creatives that suck, lots and lots of wasted money as well. You're going to be like this guy who totally tried to build a house with no plan. So there's four crucial aspects to strategic planning in regard to setting a solid foundation for Meta advertising. These are cumulative in nature, meaning that it's important to do them in sequence. So I'm going to cover each of these in order: the ideal consumer profile, a competitive analysis, the creative direction, and a targeting summary. Creating a good strategy is building a foundation for an important part of your business that you want to work for you in perpetuity. A good strategy is where your dream ad strategy is the foundation of your dream advertising results. Leads that convert into sales, actual revenue that can be attributed towards advertising efforts, copywriting, and creatives that resonate with people to create a brand impression, as well as more customer equity and increase the lifetime values of your customers overall. Like this guy here, he followed a plan, used a blueprint, and now he has a beautiful dream home. Okay, same kind of thing. So let's look at the ideal consumer profile. Just a few results from doing this was going to be targeted marketing, cost efficiency, personalized messaging, product development insights. Even if you offer a service, could be service development insights, which is still kind of like a product. A strong competitive advantage, scalability, and these are just a few reasons why the ICP, or the ideal consumer profile, is foundational and important to properly be put in place. Just a few things. Not using an ideal consumer profile is like setting sail into the open seas with no map and no compass. You may get lucky and might get to where you're going, but most likely you're just going to die, which is the more likely scenario, like this sailor here who did not prepare, did not make a plan, has no direction, and he's just lost at sea, going through a slow, painful death. So, some important points to consider in the ideal consumer profile. With the ideal consumer profile, understanding demographics is important. Age ranges of people. Does gender matter, male or female, or both? Location, local area, urban areas, rural or nationwide. Education level, high school diploma, college degrees, no education maybe. Income level, like are they in some of the top brackets of income, or are we just kind of targeting median income levels? Because you can do this. Occupation details. Is there certain details about their occupation that matter? Statistical overview, industry insights or stats that are currently available. Target geography. What are some insights about possibly specific areas that they're in? Product services. What products or services do they consume now? Consumer psychographics, interests, hobbies, values, lifestyle, attitudes. Consumer behavior. What are their purchasing habits, preferred shopping channels, brand preferences, online behavior? What is their avatar identity? This is where we dial it in a little bit more. What's their main focus of the results they desire? What's their ultimate long-term desired outcomes? What urgent problems do they want to solve? What are their pain points that they have around these problems? What critical questions do they need answered? What objections do we need to handle to move forward with them? What are the bottom line results that are desired by the avatar? Does the avatar have any enemies? Are there like, people that or organizations that we want to identify as being the enemy? And what is the main solution they need, and what are the elements of that solution? So we can speak to the solution, not just a product or service, which is kind of the most basic type of advertising, is just advertising a product or service. Advertising a solution or what something does and speaking to the pain points and understanding people works much better. Okay. So some important points to consider in the ideal consumer profile there. And, when we navigate these things properly, we make a plan, we'll be more like the sailor that arrives to his beautiful destination that he wants to be at because he was prepared, he had a plan, and, he reaps the rewards of this. All right. That's really that's the type of sailor we want to be like, not the other guy. And then we move into competitive research. Okay, we're looking for creative messaging insights. We're going to analyze the creativity and messaging of the competitor ads that help identify what resonates with the target audience. Identification of market opportunities. By examining gaps in the competitors' strategies and market positioning, you can identify opportunities for differentiation and innovation, giving you a competitive edge. Mostly we're just looking for what works. We just want to see what works in the competitive research. Imagine playing on a sports team that never studies the competition, is going to play in something like the playoffs or a championship game against really successful competitors. This is much like what advertising on Meta is like. You would have no idea what the other players are doing, what plays they run, or some of the common strategies they deploy to create success, never knowing what to expect. So not only would you lose, you would lose in a serious way that feels horrible and stays with you for the rest of your life. So that's what we want to avoid. And doing a competitive analysis is just as important in marketing and business when you do your advertising as it is like in sports. So some important points to consider in your competitive analysis. Try to identify the top 5 competitors roughly. You want about 5 or so. Look at their websites and do an analysis of their websites, as far as what their website is doing, what it looks like, that sort of thing. Then you're actually going to look up their ads on the Facebook library to analyze their copy and their creatives of their ads. And this is an important note here. Only look up successful ads. We go into how to do this more in the detailed training on competitive analysis and how to identify actual winning ads. You don't want to analyze ads that have failed, that your competition's running. All right, draw your conclusions for important points in your research to get a good summary, right? Preparing to beat the competition creates a scenario for winning, like the athlete who studies film, takes time to train, and is dedicated to the actual execution of the sport. A professional athlete spends tons of time studying the competition to win and reaps the rewards of winning. Like this crazy looking athletic guy here that's super successful because he won the championship and he's celebrating here, right? That's where we want to be with our advertising. Okay, so then we want to think about the creative direction and plan this out. We're tailoring messaging for different stages, for audiences that are at different stages of awareness here. So the benefit is that we're going to improve our ad targeting and relevance and be more effective to create better results for the advertising. We're going to have a data-driven creative strategy. And another benefit is that the creative strategy is grounded in real insights that we've created so far through our research and aligns with the audience preferences and behaviors. The emotional and intellectual connections are going to be there in the copywriting and the creatives. So we're going to be capturing and retaining audience attention while increasing the likelihood of engagement and conversion. So planning the creative direction is very important stage here, right? So with no creative direction, an advertiser is like the artist who just creates and makes poor quality work. over and over trying to get it right. This is a frustrating process, and they struggle to generate great work or good quality work. They're just frustrated all the time. So some important points to consider in the creative direction. Set forth the brand guidelines and direction for advertising success. Bring everything together from the research so far to craft psychological frameworks for unaware, somewhat aware, or the hyper aware or ready to buy prospects. We're going to think about kind of 3 stages, basically. And considering the research thus far, crafting effective psychological copywriting strategies for the Meta platform while keeping in mind the awareness of the audiences, giving the retargeting abilities of the platform is crucial. Ensuring that the media team working on graphics or video understands the brand direction and the brand profile for creativity. Also, if you want to dig into this a lot more, because it is a lot more detailed, we have a strategic planning training on just this piece where we have a template and a guide on how you can set up this document to share with your team and to kind of guide your direction to create very effective advertising for different levels of awareness given the capabilities of the Meta platform. Having a creative direction and planning out the creative work results in high quality work that stands on its own, like the artist that sketches their work, plans the colors, and takes the time to prepare. The work comes out much better. It's just better quality, and he's less frustrated and just more successful. So based on the research thus far, we can now start to make considerations in the context of the Meta platform, where we will pick the technical targeting options available in Facebook Ads Manager. Planning this out makes the work much easier and streamlined while working in the platform. Proper targeting is important. Not considering a targeting strategy like using a targeting summary is just like shooting down range at a target without looking through the scope and wasting ammo. And in our case, as advertisers, ammo is money. So we don't want to waste it. We want to use the targeting tools at our disposal properly. Okay, so some important points to consider. Consider deployable assets for building lookalike audiences in Facebook, like using your Facebook followers on the Facebook business page, Instagram followers on the professional Instagram page, email marketing lists, website visitors based on pixel page views of the page, like page views on the website, and other important events on the website, like actual leads generated or purchase events. So, and finally, a value-added customer list is a great data source to create a lookalike audience out of. This is a customer list that contains something like how much money they've spent with you or how many orders they've made with you. So there's a value aspect to this data source. Generally speaking, these data sources should be around 1,000 people or higher as of the time of this training. And so those are the first things to consider as far as deployable assets to create good targeting strategies. Then develop options to test with detailed targeting in lieu of these. If we lack a lot of these, we're going to use the detailed targeting options in the platform based on sub-segmentation of the primary consumer avatar. Okay, so these are like versions of the avatar within sub-segments of the niche. These include options available around the sub-segments for gender, age range, demographics, interests, and behaviors. So we pick combinations of these things to try to fit into these sub-segmentations. Like, for example, you may want to be targeting people for a health and wellness company, or you might be a health and wellness company and you're targeting people that will consume a certain type of gut health supplement. Well, a sub-segmentation of that may be people that are enthusiastic about yoga and into, good health and well-being and that sort of thing. Well, that's going to be a certain sub-segmentation that has different age range, maybe demographics, interests, and behaviors, and you can test that sample size. And so it's important to keep in mind a sample size and the budget for cold traffic and retargeting options. So you're going to want to see the detailed training again on the targeting summary, the template and the planning for setting up that template, setting up your plan for targeting, and then balancing that budget with your sample sizes. Very common mistake I see here is that people will target too many people with too small of a budget. And when they're using detailed targeting options, they're not getting down into a good sub-segmentation of their avatar that has an appropriate sample size for their budget to test and see if we get results. And a lot of times, there are a lot of times where that works really well. Properly using the targeting tools in Meta is like taking time to use the sights on a rifle to hit a target properly. There should be a well thought out plan and approach to the tool so that the shooter, or the marketer in our case, our advertiser, is successful. So we want to use the targeting tools at our disposal properly so we can hit our target with precision. At the end of the day, planning equals profits. This is what a wise man once said. So we have more comprehensive training on the entire planning process that includes instructions, templates, and detailed training on how to follow everything mentioned here, and the links in the description. So I hope at this point you understand that this process is essential for success. If you are advertising and if you are getting ready to run ads of any kind, really, you should take time to execute this process. I would say this is good for the Meta platform. However, this overall process is very applicable to interruption marketing in general. If you're running any kind of interruption marketing, these are all foundational things that you want to plan out and consider, because I think I've given you enough examples at this point. Planning is better than no planning in business. All right, thanks.